coming out today, and I particularly want to thank those who are joining me up here today. Assistant Special Agent in charge of the Jacksonville office of the FBI, Tony Provide. Tony, thank you for being here. Our Group Supervisor of the Jacksonville office of the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, could not be with us, but ATF was a major player in this program as well. From the Federal High Intensity Drug Trafficking Office, or HIDTA, Director Bob Perriam. Thank you, Bob, for being here. And also Special Agent Supervisor of the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Mike O'Neill. Thank you, Mike. And of course, our great State Attorney for the 4th Judicial Circuit, Angela Corey. And from her Special Prosecution, the Director of Special Prosecution, Rich Manti, and his team are here with us as well. And as always, our JSO detectives and commanders who will stay off camera because of their undercover status. But I want to thank all of them for their tireless work on this operation as well. And folks, it is no secret that much of the crime on our streets today is fueled by gang activities. Gangs whose main enterprise are drug dealing, and in this case also residential burglaries. Our problem here is the known gang members and their affiliates who cycle in and out of our jails and prisons, and as you will now hear, are ultimately responsible for much of the infiltration of drugs on our streets and the burglaries to our homes and businesses. They start their careers very young. They are recruited from a young age by the older members, preying on their lack of direction, their lack of adult supervision, their inordinate amount of idle time, and worst of all, playing into the way our culture glorifies this criminal lifestyle, making it appear so attractive and inviting with all the guns, the cash, and the cars, and all stolen, of course, and all taken from, as I said, other people. Not to mention the drugs, the massive amount of drugs that they put on our street is enormous. When these gangs are active, they pose a clear and present danger to those in the neighborhoods where they live and conduct their business. And they try to intimidate through fear. I can tell you in January of 2013, the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office was investigating recent homicides and other violent crimes in the Newtown area near Edward Waters College. We believe this activity to involve members of the Pakistan Uli Clique, or PYC, street gang. We partnered with the FBI through their Safe Streets Task Force and began investigating this as a RICO, or racketeering influenced corrupt organization, based largely on the criminal records and our knowledge of the criminal activity of those involved in the past. Witnesses told us that a drug enterprise fueled the entire operation. We focused on Junior Street, which is known PYC territory, and it's actually a dead-end street, and hence our working title of Operation Dead End. And from August through October of last year, while under investigation for homicide, RICO, and narcotics charges, members of the gang engaged in burglaries, stealing guns, electronics, and valuables from homes ranging from Arlington all the way over to Ortega. We weren't having the success that we wanted with those cases, and so we shifted to a little different strategy. And using our street-level narcotics folks, we made several buys of heroin and crack cocaine on Tyler Street, where PYC was also running drugs. We slowed that down with some arrests, which helped us with our higher-level RICO, narcotics, homicide investigation. We were able to focus on the fewer, more dangerous members who were operating the drug enterprise with suppliers over on Junior Street, as I mentioned earlier. In January of this year, with the help of ATF, we used investigative techniques and surveillance to determine who the kingpins were of the Junior Street narcotics enterprise. We also obtained information that one of the drug houses on the street had guns and assault rifles. We were then able to obtain a warrant, and JSO served that, and 1 assault rifle and 3 handguns were seized, along with drugs and equipment. Some of that, I believe, is on the board up here. The leader of the drug house and 2 associates were also arrested in the raid. We continued to work our way up the chain and determine where the members were getting their drugs, and in fact our investigation then led us to California. In May, 5 months ago, with all the partners you see here, we conducted an investigation that targeted the supply chain of the street-level narcotics operation of PYC, still operating out off of Junior Street. Obliterating this operation was our goal, but we received very little citizen participation over on Junior Street, as their history of feeling protected by these gang members and their fear of the gang members should they turn on them made it very difficult for us to gather information in that immediate area. In 3 months, we had the California connection identified, and working with the HIDA and FBI, working in California with their local and federal agents, we were able to intercept the next shipment en route to Jacksonville on I-10 at US 301. In that stop, 11 kilos of cocaine, street valued at $385,000, 20 pounds of marijuana, valued at $20,000, and 50.8 grams of crack cocaine were also recovered, all concealed in a van with 4 adults and 3 children under the age of 10. They were traveling and trying to present the appearance of a family on vacation. I should mention those children are now in the care of DCF. So the RICO investigation wasn't quite done at that point. And as you know, making these cases is very difficult work, but with a conviction, these bad and dangerous folks are off the street for a very long time. And on Sunday, October 19th, 5 days ago, with the PYC gang members and associates already in jail on charges developed during this very long investigation, and add-on charges of RICO and conspiracy to commit RICO were made by the state attorney's office. And you can see the players involved in this operation. There are, and I should mention, there are still two defendants that are still wanted, and that is Daryl Kinsey and Franklin Kinsey. We're still looking for those two, an uncle and a nephew. 23 suspects were arrested, I should say. 19 are local, 3 are from California, and 1 is from Nevada. I should also mention that 6 vehicles were seized in the operation, and the racketeering influence corrupt organization charges hold a possible penalty for each of those charged, and you can separate them from some of the others. The ones with RICO charges are those in the red boxes around them. But the conspiracy to traffic cocaine, those are all looking at, by the way, those are all looking at an additional 30 years added on to their criminal sentence. So that's why we love RICO. Gets them off the street for a very long time. And those who are habitual felony offenders, they could actually be facing life in prison. The conspiracy to trafficking cocaine charges also holds a penalty, possible penalty of 30 years in prison. And as I mentioned, Franklin and Daryl Kinsey are both currently wanted in conjunction with this case and have not been captured at this time. There are many more takeaways in this that we can mention, but for one, I want to say some very dangerous criminals have been taken off our streets, but they didn't start out this way. They joined a gang and they entered a lifestyle and became what they are today. And the message is to parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, and all other family members that they need to step up and start dealing with these youth who, you know, they need to engage them. They need to engage them in church and schools and PTAs and Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts. Get these kids involved in something besides these gangs. And you know, our citizens are the most important tool that we have in our arsenal to fight these gangs. If your neighborhood is not a safe and secure place, tell us. I've said many times throughout this community, you've got the amount of crime and drug dealing in your community that you're willing to tolerate. Because when you will no longer tolerate it, you'll work with the police, you'll provide us the information that we need to gain successful prosecution, and then we can put this entire team to work to clean up your neighborhood. So the message is reach out to the police and work with us. And with that, I'm going to close it. I'm going to allow, I'm going to ask our special agent in charge of the FBI here, Tony Krabat, to come up and say a word. Tony?
Thank you, Sheriff. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'm so proud of the work of the deputies and the agents over the last several months. They put an end, as the Sheriff said, to widespread drug dealing and violence that accompanied it in the Newtown area. They made numerous arrests. They conducted investigation. They made more arrests of those that backfilled the street dealers in that area. And they collected all these people and dismantled a violent criminal group. Today, from my perspective, the Newtown area has a new start. Today it's quieter around the neighborhood school. And today, the impact of our partnership, our law enforcement partnership, is evident. Like the Sheriff and our other partners here today, the FBI remains concerned with the safety and security of our local communities and the nation. We remain concerned about terrorism and the impact of violent gangs in our community. Very often, violent gangs also terrorize entire communities. Echoing the Sheriff again, we want this entire area to be safe for everyone. To accomplish this, we need everyone. We need law enforcement partnerships, and we need the community to partner with law enforcement for the added eyes and ears for security and safety in this community and in this country. We are stronger together. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, throw it open for questions. Yes, sir.
Derek Gillum, Florida Times Union. How many more junior streets are there in Jacksonville? And it seems to me...
How many more what?
Junior streets, the dead-end road you were talking about. And then also, this seemed... You said the gangs, you spoke about gangs. I don't know, about a couple months ago, there was a discussion about youth and their participation in gangs. And it was said that gangs are not a big problem in Jacksonville. It seems to be a little bit contradictory today when we're discussing this as a dangerous gang. And basically, can you speak on that? Is it a change of the Sheriff's Office policy?
No, okay, look, I think what the reference is to, do we have a national gang situation like you see in some cities, like the Bloods and the Crips and all that? No. These are neighborhood dope dealers working together, created a criminal enterprise, and that's why the RICO. But you know, they don't have these national affiliations like, you know, the Bloods and the Crips and some of those. But yes, they can be, and they are violent. And that's why I think it's very important that we do certify these gang members, and we work hard to get them certified, because then that allows us to go after them as RICO members.
And the first part of the question about how many more junior streets are there out there, do we even know?
Well, we know we've got 46 other named gangs in the community, so I'd say at least 46.
Sheriff?
Yes.
Can you describe the California connection a little bit more in detail? You got 2 arrested in California as the main suppliers out there, and were they the ones arrested at the 301 and I-10? How does that work?
Yeah, I don't want to get into all that, Jim, but because, look, I should say this too. There's still ongoing investigations, spin-offs, and other things from this operation. So I don't want to get too much into the particulars, but working with ATF and the FBI in California, we were able to make that connection and make those arrests that we've announced, but I don't want to discuss
Well, was that the arrest
any more of that.
The family you said that was arrested, was that
Yeah,
part of that?
Yes, I think two of them, I believe, yes.
And then the name of this gang, I've never heard of it, the Pakistan Uli Clique. Pakistan, is there some connection there?
We don't know where they came up with it either, but we don't name them, they do.
No, but I mean, so there's no international.
PYC has been around for a very long time.
But no international.
No.
Keith and Nelson, First Coast News. Sheriff, you mentioned 46 other named gangs in the community. Is the goal of Operation Dead End to pretty much cut off the heads of all of these gangs, eventually all 46, or? I don't put words in your mouth.
Yes, and that's the advantage of and the importance, I think, of a RICO prosecution, is because we're going to take this population out of the community for a very long time. And the more we can do that with the heads of these organizations, the better, the safer our community will be. So yes, it's very important.
I'm sorry, so if you can, just put a message out there, if you were to be able to talk to these other heads of these organizations, what is the goal right now? What are you guys aiming to do?
We're coming after you. And we're going to charge you with RICO. And you